Hi, good morning. Can you hear me? It seems that there's only one participant here, so I'm not so sure if I'm on the right track.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So I'm going to introduce you.
Okay.
And then you can take it from here. Do you want to pull up your screen?
Sure. I like to share my screen here. So can you see the slides?
Not yet.
Oh,
now I can. I just put it on slide share. While you're doing that, I'm going to introduce you. So I am thrilled to introduce Dongdong Wang, who has a PhD in strategy, international business and entrepreneurship, and is at the Nanyang Business School in Nanyang Technological University. And Wang, is Wang here yet?
I don't think so. I think she has some difficulty, logging in Zoom because Zoom is currently prohibited in China.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, so Dong, you can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. It actually takes me, quite a lot of time, trying to log in. But luckily, I managed to do it before the start of the session. I like to, thanks, I like to thank everyone, because of especially during the COVID-19 time, when international travel is almost impossible. And I think, online, meeting is probably the only source that I can, still communicate with my, colleagues from all over the world. So I do appreciate that. Basically, the paper, I'm going to share with you today is actually an academic paper, but I think it has a lot of practical significance. So the reason that that pushed me to join in this summit is because I also want to reach scholars as well as practitioners, because I do later as I in my presentation I will tell you that there are some limitations regarding this paper, and I want to reach the US cases to gain more insights and feedback. So basically that's it. So basically this paper it is about the application of CSR models in digital platforms. So it has been just recently accepted by the Academy of Management Conferences in Seattle later this year. So but I think it still has lots of room for improvement, and I'm looking forward to hear from your feedback about it. So basically the title is the title is Win from Within, an internal fit perspective of CSR models applied in digital platforms. So this is the paper that I co-authored with a student in Shuidichou University in China. So I'm Dongdong Huang, currently an assistant professor in Nanyang University in China, after obtaining my PhD degree in Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. So without further ado, I will proceed to introduce about this paper. So here are the content of the paper. I'm going to first talk about the background, and then talk about the research question, followed by the theory methods, and then try to explain the analysis and the results. Lastly, I will briefly touch about the contributions and limitations. So regarding the research background, so currently the rapid development of digital technology has almost reshaped every aspect about the economic aspects, and has promoted new changes also in the applications of CSR. Specifically, the major carrier of CSR activities has rapidly shifted from traditional industries to digital sectors. which are characterized to be more open, shared, innovative, and diverse. And also, along with the change is that the major, participants of those CSR activities has also, changed from traditional, enterprises to digital platforms, and they are two-sided users. So existing studies regarding, CSR models in digital platforms are not many. So among the field, they mainly review two common, CSR models. So basically, it's like a description, regarding what those CSR models are like, in those digital platforms. The first model, describe a situation where, the digital platforms incorporate CSR activities into the daily operations of their original digital platforms. And the second one describes the situation where, those digital platforms, they set up a new CSR platform outside the original platform. So, and, the situation is that, there are not many literature, capturing the CSR application in digital platforms. And among those, that has, reviewed the models, after, actually after a brief, investigation into this question, we found that, the current literature significantly, fall behind the actual development of CSR applications in digital platforms. Hence, we want to, answer two research questions here. The first one is, what are new CSR models in digital platforms? We are trying to cover, as many as possible, trying to come up with a very comprehensive answer about this. And then, and perhaps more, more importantly, what drives, those digital platforms to adopt those models, those different models? So, regarding the theory, so after, actually, our paper is it's a case study, so all the results are quite, inductive way, in the sense that, it is the results of the case analysis that drives us to the conclusion that, the contingent theory is perhaps, more appropriate, to explain the, the situation. So basically, the contingent theory argues that the core argument is that, the formation of the best strategy is contingent on the internal as well as the external situations. So if there is a fit between the firm's strategy and its contingency factors, hence the firm's outcomes will be positive. So, and to be more specific, there are two streams, of the contingent theory. The first one is called the external fit perspective. So basically, it argues that, the external contingency factors play a major role, in the formation of firm strategy, in the sense that, firms have to passively, respond to external contingencies. While, on the other hand, and more recently, more research, are taking the internal fit perspective, in the sense that, the internal factors, firms' own situations might play a greater role, in deciding the firm's, choices of strategies, and hence, its, performance outcomes. We argue that, the internal fit might, better suit our study, given that those digital platforms, adopting CSR practices in our cases, are all leading firms in the burgeoning digital industries in China, where there's strong government support. Hence, those external contingent factors might not play that much bigger role. So we then, proceed to, design the research and trying to collect data, and trying to search for the cases. So we apply, those, 4 criteria in our, case search. So first one, we look into those leading digital platforms in various industries where they have greater influence and a high reference significance. And then, we try to look at those successful CSR projects that have demonstrated network effects, which means that there are increasing number of participants annually over the years. And third, we only review public listed firms. This is because that we think we are considering the issue of the availability of data and other information necessary for our staff, for our people. And then we are trying to select the most representative CSR cases that demonstrate unique and clear features, separating so, each cases from each other. So as a result, we actually selected 4 representative cases. So they are Alipay's Ant Forest, Meituan's Blue Mountain Project, and Waterdrop's Shuidichou, and Tencent's Wecounty. So basically, if you look at the table, so all of them are launched after 2015, and they have a very large customer base, and they have they are all from different industries, digital industries, public listed firms that we can easily access their data and information. And also you can see that the number of the participants in those CSR platforms are increasing over years, which means they're very powerful and they're very successful and popular, making them very suitable for our research. We also collect data from different sources for the purpose of data triangulation to increase the validity of our research. So from media reports, from those CSR reports or annual reports, and also we collect videos and audios from official websites. So we apply some initial coding scheme from the 4 dimensions like the backgrounds of digital platforms and their CSR projects. We look into their internal contingency factors, the characteristics of CSR practices to see whether there are some connection, relationship between those internal contingency factors and CSR practices. And also we gather some other interesting points, and we actually do it in we continuously upgrading our coding scheme. So eventually we conduct our content analysis from the 4 dimensions on the right side. So first one is regarding the background of CSR practices, and then the internal contingency factors, specifically from resource commitment, relevance of CSR practices to core businesses and those firms' social orientation, and then their CSR strategy, and then of course the potential risks of their CSR practices. So here I'm presenting you the details of those 4 cases. So the first one is Alibaba's Alipay's Ant Forest. So in order to deal with the challenges of global warming and help realize the carbon neutrality and goals of China and the global community, so Alibaba Group launched the Ant Forest program embedded in the Alipay platform to promote those low carbon lifestyle in August 2016. So if you look at the the screenshot on the right side, you can see there are bubbles, right? Those bubbles actually the numbers there, 3G actually is corresponds to the amount of carbon emission saved by the person. Okay, so each time a user conducts a transaction or activity through the Alipay app, for example, taking the subway, taking the public bus, or using a sharing bike, then she or he will automatically awarded with some green energy points. So those bubbles with those numbers, they are green energy points. And if you have accumulated green energy points to certain amounts, you could be able to plant a real tree in vulnerable areas, or you can protect 1 square meter of land. So basically that's how it functions. Okay, so I mean, the popularity of the app is that by end of March 2021, and Forest has attracted more than 550 million people to participate and has helped to reduce more than 12 million tons of carbon emission in total. And so more than 223 million trees have been planted, covering an area of more than 12,000 square kilometers, which equals to 17 times the size of Singapore. So here, is a table summarizing the characteristics of the case Alipay's and Forest. So regarding the resource commitment, which we measure by their expenditure on this CSR practice in terms of their total revenue, we see that the resource commitment actually is not very high. It's actually low, and the relevance of those CSR practices to core businesses, which is Alipay, the digital payment, is very high, because actually this practice is embedded in the Alipay. So every energy green energy points you gain is through your transaction via Alipay. So it's very high relevance. And also the social orientation, honestly, we feel it's not that high. We have a table later which we will show you why it's not very high. And so basically we characterize the CSR strategy as a platform embedding this model, where the strategy is to embed CSR practices within the operations of the original platform. And then the second case is Meituan's Blue Mountain project. So the topic of this CSR practice model is to alleviate public's environmental concerns regarding the food delivery industry, because there has been heated discussion regarding the pollutions, the use of plastic bags, all the food waste. So Meituan actually launched Meituan as the leading food delivery app in China. So they actually launched the Blue Mountain project on August 31st, 2017. So every time a consumer orders food from a store which joins Blue Mountain Fund in Meituan platform, merchants will donate a certain amount of money for environmental protection. It's like this. If you look at there are two screenshots here on the right side. If you look at the left one, so actually if you can see some words in green, it actually asks you to choose the number of chopsticks, plastics, bags, etc. And actually it actually encourages you to choose no plastic bags, etc. And just like the one on the right side, the right side screenshot. So the first one, the first few Chinese characters says there's no need for those plastic tools. Okay. In addition, the Meituan also offers the option of no tableware for consumers when they order food, so as to encourage customers and merchants to jointly reduce the usage of plastic boxes and tableware. So unlike the first case is that the participants will automatically gain some green energy points when they are using the Alipay. But here, actually the Meituan, they have to motivate both the both the sellers, the food sellers and those buyers, motivate them to jointly participate in this Blue Mountain project. So the result is that by the end of 2020, more than 390 merchants, 1,000 merchants have participated in the project with more than 1 billion orders from 190 million people. So here is a summary, about this case. Regarding the resource commitment, actually it is moderate, so higher than the one in the case of Alipay, and the relevance of CSR practices to core businesses is actually flexible. So in some cases, it's very high, like the food delivery, okay. But in other cases where they ask you to donate money, so actually it's not very that high, closely related to their core businesses. And the social orientation, exhibited in their annual reports is moderate. So we characterize this kind of CSR strategy as a platform leveraging model, which describes the situation to leverage resources possessed by the two-sided users. Here refers to the merchants and also as well as those buyers, in the platform and motivate them to jointly engage in CSR practices initiated by and operated within the platform. Okay, I think I'm running out of time, so 10 minutes left. So I will go quickly. The third case is Waterdrop Shuidichou. So basically, it is a free online fundraising platform for serious illnesses set up by Waterdrop. But the Waterdrop itself is not well known for most ordinary Chinese, especially those in the rural and the less developed regions. So the owner Shen, actually decided to outsource Tencent's most popular social media platform, WeChat in China, and so leverage the WeChat social platform to do advertisement for Shuidichou. So it actually by connecting Shuidichou to WeChat, so Waterdrop invites WeChat users to raise funds for critically ill patients. So by the end of 2019, Shuidichou has provided free fundraising services for 1 million patients with serious illnesses and has raised funds worthy of RMB 26.5 billion or USD 3.85 billion. So in this case, the resource commitment is very high. I will show a table later, but the relevance of CSR practices to social platforms, which is Tencent's social platform, is very low because one is about online fundraising, the other is just the social media. It's not very high, but as demonstrated in the reports, the social orientation of Shuidichou is very, very high because they actually donate all the money they have collected to those patients. So we characterize this CSR practices as a platform outsourcing model where it describes the situation for a firm to outsource resources in an external platform to jointly conduct CSR practices. And last one is Tencent's Wecounty project. So basically, this project is to respond to the government's call for poverty alleviation. So in order to help realize accurate poverty alleviation and revitalize the countryside with the internet through Tencent's Wecounty, each village in China can set up and customize an official WeChat account to do businesses with the outside world. So basically, it's like it's like an online shop of the village, where the villagers can put their that they are, agricultural products, their fruits, the greens, on those, websites, on the official website, and sell them, to the other people, So Wecounty also embeds a digital service center for each village, which provides villagers of nearly 70 service functions. So not only selling agricultural products, but also other functions. For example, maybe starting a conference, a meeting, or helping renting a location for some for family issues, something like this. So as of February the 4th, 2021, it's 16,285 villages out of the 30 provinces in China, which which equals to 891 counties and 2,588 townships across the country have joined Tencent's Wecounty platform, and more than 2.53 million registered villagers have been certified. So we characterize this model as as a platform generation model. So basically, it is to set up an independent new platform. They have WeChat already, but they set up this Wecounty platform specifically for the CSR activities, and hence the resource commitment is very high. The relevance to the core business is very low, and social orientation is also very high. So here is the table, just showing why we draw the conclusion that the resource commitment is the level is like this. But because of the absence of the data of Waterdrop Shuidichou, so we still haven't have that data here. So here is a summary which I think I have described previously, but it's mainly about I want to talk about the context here, specifically Alipay's Ant-Forest and Meituan's Blue Mountain projects. They are all embedded within the original platform, but Waterdrop's Shuidichou and Tencent's Wecounty, they are operated outside the platform. And the resource commitment from the left, one all the way to the right one, is from low to high, and on the contrary, the relevance of CSR practices with core businesses actually declines, and social orientation, also increases. So the potential risk of CSR models, for Alipay's Ant-Forest is very low because of the high relevance of CSR practices with core businesses. But for Tencent's Wecounty, because they have invest a lot, put a lot of money, and the relevance is not very high. Hence, the potential risks of those CSR models, is also very high. We also project, so the cases actually demonstrate a dynamic development track of CSR models in digital platforms, where we have we differentiate them through two dimensions. One is the participant, on the horizontal axis is about whether the platform is operated inside or outside the original platform, and on the vertical axis, we are talking about the types of participants, whether it is only one-sided users, which either the buyers or the sellers, or whether two-sided users both join in the program. So we can say there's a trap here, starting from the from the embeddedness model, which is the easiest one, all the way up to the platform generation model. So we hope to contribute to the CSR literature by identifying the most commonly adopted CSR models and their dynamic development track in digital platforms. And also it contributes to the contingency theory by highlighting the importance of the internal context in deciding which perspective is more applicable. And our study also unveils, those internal factors and mechanisms that drives firms, digital platform selection of those CSR models. But I think, our people, still have some limitations, which I want to, I hope maybe, the guests here can help me a little bit. First one is regarding, the data, we have, although we have the data triangulation, but we still hope to have some, first-hand, interviews with the practitioners here. We hope to conduct, on-spot interviews, with those managers, because I think, this will help us to gain more insights, maybe, generate more ideas. And then, also, so currently, the reports, the cases, guide us to choose the internal fit perspective. But we also thinking that whether some external, contingency factors might also, affect firms' choices of their CSR models. So we will also, think about this. And also, regarding the case selection. So currently, we are only, studying the Chinese digital platforms, but given US, it's the world, largest economy, and they have very strong, digital, sectors. So we are also considering, to reach US, firms if possible. Just, also, having some, doing, case analysis, to gain just more insights and ideas. So that's all for my presentation. So if you are interested in the project, I do hope that you can contact me, via the email link, I stated here. Yeah. So basically, that's my presentation. I think it's time for some, question Q&A, right?
Yes, thank you. That was wonderful, really interesting. Would anybody like to ask a question? You can chat it, or you can raise your hand, and I'll try to see that. Thank you so much. We have 48 people here, I see. We have a thank you, but does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. So thank you very much. I'm especially
very interesting presentation.
Thanks. Thanks.
Let's give it another minute and see if people have any questions. There's a question from Catherine Giscombe. What recommendations do you have for profit-making large companies?
Oh, I think, this actually, there's a research stream, analyzing the connections, the relationship between corporate social responsibility and corporate financial performance. So basically, some meta-analysis reveals that actually, corporate social responsibility will help to boost firms' financial performance, because we have this, you will boost, many among many mediating channels. So customer loyalty, reputation, and fame, they all play a role. So my suggestion is that I think US firms have been doing very great job. I think they are leading in corporate social responsibility. So I think it is that I think those big giant profit-making companies, I think they should actively consider to do more CSR activities, so to attract more customers and to make more contributions, and which will help them to gain their financial performance eventually.
Thank you. We have another question. Did you collect data through secondary sources? I joined this session late.
So actually, I think yeah, because I think some of so we have 3 types of data sources. The first one is media reports. The second one is through some annual reports, especially in the CSR reports. And the third one is from video. Is from videos and audios. But yeah, but we haven't have face-to-face, our own, interviews with, with those practitioners. That's why, I want to, I'm calling for people if they are interested, to have those interviews, just contact me. Yeah, I think those, interviews will help me to gain more insights and generate more ideas.
Great, thank you. We have another second suggestion for external fit perspective, level of innovativeness in CSR within the industry that the firm belongs to.
Okay, second suggestion for okay. Okay, thanks very much. I will take it. I will, write it down, keep it down. Thank you very much. Okay.
Great. Thank you. And another comment, could you tell me how senior generation are thinking about the CSR in general? It seems that the study focuses on the younger generation. You're looking for older people. How are older people, the more senior?
Oh, right. I think, this is a point that I have missed. I haven't think about this, especially I think, all those, firms, they're also relatively very young firm, very successful and young firm. I'm not so sure about the situation in US, but in China, I think the older generation, the senior generation, they are not that, serious consider about CSR practices. I think they care more about I think they still care more about, their financial income, and they would, I think, even, and very sadly, I think, they would even, are willing to, to pursue the maximization of financial, returns at the cost of, environmental benefits. But I think for the young generation, yeah, is actually quite different. That's that's only based on my personal, experiences. Yeah.
Great. Well, I know in the US, our younger generation is very interested in CSR and sustainability.
I see. Yeah.
Ken Nishikawa says, because I am Japanese, that is the reason why I asked you about that. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
You look very energetic.
Sorry, you could stop sharing your screen so everybody can see each other, I think, if you'd like.
Sharing my screen?
Stop sharing your screen and then
stop, okay. Okay, I stop. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. All right, there you are. We can see you.
Okay, hi.
Okay, that was a wonderful presentation. Does anybody have any more comments or questions? All right, well, let's thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much. If you are interested in the projects, remember to contact me.
Absolutely, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our next presentation at 10:15, which is just in a couple of minutes, on for-profit firms' contribution to society and applying conviction narratives for good. So we'll see you in that room. Thank you. Thanks again. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful job. Thank you.
So should I end this session?
Yes, and you can join the other session.
Okay, I will. Okay.